How's it going, folks? So, the AK Operators Union put out a few videos over the last couple of days in regards to the situation and the need to make sure you have a proper rifle, either the AK or the AR-15. And there's concern put out about how divided the country is over the conflict in the Middle East. And I thought these were very good points that he brought up. I want to further expound upon at least some of this, or at least springboard off of this. The fact of the matter is that the U.S. we were founded as a nation of riflemen. This, it is supposed to be our birthright. It's a massive portion of our culture. We wouldn't be our own independent nation, at least not at the time we became our own independent nation, had it not been for us insisting on our right to keep and bear arms. Those of you who don't know, the spark that started the war for American independence, aka the American Revolution, that happened because the regulars attempted to confiscate firearms from the colonists, and the colonists weren't having it. That's where the shot heard around the world came from. And it's unfortunate more isn't taught about this in history classes in school. However, it is what it is. Now that we're adults and we can do our own research, it is pretty obvious that that is how we became our own independent nation. And for the bit of time afterwards, we were a nation of riflemen as well. There were times on the frontiers. And in fact, it wasn't until the late 1800s, early 1900s to where we kind of started doing a little bit of a decline on that mentality. We allowed various state and local governments to make exceptions to our Second Amendment. Then in the 30s came the first federal massive violation of our Second Amendment, and it just kept going. And the fact of the matter is that the gun controllers are never going to stop. The people who are in favor of civilian disarmament aren't going to stop. They don't care about the truth. They don't care whether or not their policies save lives. They just want their policies in place. They don't care who they harm in doing it. The idea that America has a national rifle, the AR-15, so absolutely triggers them. I was reading a piece from the Washington Post, one of these pieces that was not behind a paywall, and they were speaking of the various types of demographics likely to own an AR-15, and that's not really what I wanted to talk about with the article. What I wanted to talk about was going down into the comments section. Now, for those of you who pay attention in the two-way conversation, know a little bit about the Washington Post, you know that's not a very two-way friendly publication at all, and the people they attract are not very two-way friendly people. In fact, I don't think anybody who's pro 2A would probably spend the money on a subscription or even take the time to actually do the free subscription portion or create a free account. However, I digress. It might be possible. I just didn't really see much in the way of people who were very friendly to the Second Amendment in those comments. These people don't believe in freedom. They believe that you have to justify your rights. And if they don't see a reason for you to exercise the rights that they don't approve of, well, then, you're just not going to get it in their eyes. And they would have you disarmed and put in prison or even killed in a heartbeat. This is the type of people you're dealing with. So, with this being said, I'm going to say the AK Operators Union is absolutely right. If you're an adult American, and unless there's a pressing reason why you cannot have a rifle like this, or an AK even, I've always said, yeah, AR-15 was America's rifle, but I also understand that there are people who prefer the AK. I just generally think that the AR-15 is a better choice, especially for if you're in the U.S. Now, if you're in a combat country or a former satellite or former country, uh, or former member of the Soviet Union, okay, maybe the AK there makes a lot more sense. The problem is most of the people in those countries are still restricted heavily from being able to buy firearms. The fact of the matter is, here in the U.S., for the most part, we're not, unless you live in a state like New York or California. And hopefully, some of those gun laws will come off the books. So we need to get the most modern rifle we can and keep up to date with what is essentially our birthright. Now, I know somebody's going to point out that this does not have the fun switch on it. Ergo, it's a civilian legal AR-15. You know, I understand that. And hopefully, the time will come where the Hughes Amendment and eventually the NFA gets repealed too. But this is going to be a long road, and we can't give up, and we have to keep pushing forward any which way we can. So that's what I wanted to touch on with that. We need to go at this at every angle: legal, political, social, and cultural. Don't be afraid to share ideas with friends on how we can go forward. Don't be afraid to share ideas with other sources. I mean, the more ideas we have, the more tools we can work with, the better. And then after we've managed to get ourselves freed up, it wouldn't hurt to help several other countries out, like our neighbors to the north. They have quite a few gun owners that are getting thoroughly abused right now, and they could also use some support because if you look at the situation with Canada, it does have a similar situation to California on the political side of things. So I wanted to point that out for those of y'all who've stayed on this long. Well, let me know what you think in the comments. But y'all take her easy out there and have a great day.